Listen, a lot of these A-type personalities like Bob Hope and John Kennedy and Jim Garrison are philanderers. But that has nothing to do. Look at John Kennedy, for crying out loud. He cheated more than Trump. But they kept it secret because the media loved him. Some of the media did not like Trump, so a lot of that stuff was revealed. And then Trump, like an idiot, used to brag about grabbing pussy. I mean, it was disgusting. Bob Hope was never like that. I met two of his mistresses, for crying out loud. It has nothing to do with the guy's work. It's his private life. I mean, the private lives of some people are just god-awful. And they lead to horrible, horrible things. Look what happened to Bob Crane. That Bob Crane had the most successful radio show in America out of CBS in Los Angeles. In 1966, I did a really good, funny, biting, controversial comedy album called It's Tough to Be White. At the height of all the difficulties with the civil rights movement, and the liner notes were done by Dick Gregory. And that was one of the only reasons that Pacific Jazz would open it. We did it in front of an integrated audience. You go to my site today, the stuff is more controversial and funnier and more interesting today than it was in 1966. And only two people would put me on the air. And one was Bob Crane. And you look what happened to Bob Crane. Murdered in some kind of sex scandal.
Yeah, I've done a couple of shows about the murder of Bob Crane. Fascinating story. And it seems that Richard Dawson was also involved with that character there that was doing all the films and filming and the orgies and stuff as well. And that one of the suspects who in the murder of Bob Crane went to visit Richard Dawson that night. Now, people should go back into my archives and look up those Bob Crane shows. Those are pretty damn good.
I would love to listen to some, but it would make me sad because I really, you know what? I never, ever, ever forgot anybody who did a favor for me. And I knew hundreds of the very biggest and richest in Hollywood and in show business. And the only two that ever kept their word to me were Frank Sinatra and Neil Simon. But the other ones, and you know what? I never called anybody a name, ever. Ever, ever, ever. I just tell you the stories of the Johnny Carson or Bob Hope or Muhammad Ali or Ronald Reagan. I mean, Reagan wanted to walk off of my show when he was running for governor because I wouldn't give him a list of questions. I mean, it's great. But I never call anybody a name, ever. I just report what they do and what they say and let people make their own conclusions about them.
Excellent. We're with the great John Barbour. You go to johnbarbersworld.com and check out, he's had a lot of his archives up there. Be sure and check out his book called Your Mother's Not a Virgin and the Garrison Tapes, Part 1 and 2. You can still watch them on Vimeo and stuff like that. We'll be right back with more of John Barbour after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. We're here today with John Barbour, the author of the book Your Mother's Not a Virgin, and also to the two documentary films about the Garrison tapes, Part 1 and Part 2, that you can find on Vimeo and other YouTube too as well, John?
Yes, absolutely. You can watch the first Garrison tapes free on my site, www.johnbarbersworld.com. The second documentary, The American Media, the second assassination of President John F. Kennedy, is an absolute monster runaway hit on Amazon. It only costs $2. And I get no help from the so-called assassination community, which has already been infiltrated by the CIA. There is no deep state in this country. The United States is the deep state. Yeah. The CIA is absolutely into everything. And then yesterday, that film went back up on iTunes, so you can get it also on iTunes. And the other thing that I just published is my second book. And it's available now on Kindle Amazon. It went up last week. And on the 20th, which was Inauguration Day, what Amazon and I did is we offered for 24 hours a free download version of this book. And it's called John Barbour, The Wittiest Man in America is a Canadian.
Okay.
And how it came about is the Carol Hainig, who was a publisher's consultant in New York, very successful. She said she would start her day every morning. Instead of going to the newspaper, she would go to my site and read what jokes or comments I had made on my site. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, Ed, and not one is for personal reason. The reason that I have Facebook is because when I was a stand-up comic and when I was doing a show, like you, I would think of stuff and I'd want to make notes. Well, with me, it was writing jokes or thinking about something or a different point of view at something. And I used to always write it on a pad and a piece of paper. I had a daily diary. And I threw that away when Facebook came along, so that's what I did every day. Well, Carol called me about 8 months ago, and she said, my God, some of this stuff is really funny. She said this thing here about Putin, and the line about Putin was, absolute proof that Vladimir Putin is a liar. he called Donald Trump a genius. And she said, this stuff should be in a book. And I said, I'm not doing it. I don't have time to do that. She said, I'll do it. And I said, well, listen, I'm like Sinatra. I don't want to pay anybody anything I don't want anybody to do anything for nothing for me. I mean, shortly after Sinatra almost committed suicide and he was trying to make a comeback, he hired the most expensive publicist, young publicist in Los Angeles, who happened to be the financial manager for Chuck Barris. This is how I happen to hear the story. So this kid wanted to help Sinatra for half price, and Sinatra swore at him and said, I'm the best and I will pay the most. And shortly after that, he got that film that made him a star. So in any event, I said to Carol, I'll give you $400 a month. You can work an hour a day, half hour a day, or you don't even have to work at all. Anyway, she compiled 8 years of what she thought was the funniest, the wittiest, or the most controversial stuff, because I have a lot of political stuff in there. And they published it last week. So it's called John Barbour, the Wittiest Man in America. Is a Canadian. So thank you for letting me get that in.
So, John, one more thing. We just recently had the death of Larry King. Larry King was also involved with Garrison?
Yes, it was. I had sort of two stories to tell about Larry King. I lost real people because I was trying to tell Jim Garrison's story. Because of the enormous success of Real People, George Slaughter got a chance to do another show called Speak Up America, which was dying, and he asked me for help. And I said, no, I'm too busy trying to save Real People, which you're trying to destroy. And he started to destroy it when he hired a 10-year-old kid, Peter Billingsley.
That's right.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's when he began to destroy the show. And so I said, no, but I will do one story for nothing, and that's a story about Jim Garrison. That wonderful story is also in the book, and the bottom line is that George Slaughter took my story at midnight, re-edited it to absolutely viciously slander and lie about Jim Garrison. And I begged Garrison to sue him because I had a recording of Slaughter admitting doing that. And Garrison would have owned Slaughter and would have owned NBC. And Garrison said, oh, John, if I sued everybody who slandered me, I'd never see my family. We love your show. Just send a couple of Real People T-shirts. So I lost that show because of that. I ended up at Channel 9 doing a local show, and everybody in town wanted to be on the show. And I had them all, and I got a call from a young kid who was a producer at CNN. And he said, John, could you get permission to, he said, yours is a nighttime show. Could you get permission to come in to NBC for a couple of weeks and do an hour show? We have a very successful hour show hosted by a woman, I forget her name, and I would like you to host it. I said, oh, well, that's very nice of you. Do you know me from Real People? And he said, what's Real People? And I was stunned. I said, hold it. You never heard of Real People, the #1 show for 3 years? And he said, no. I said, well, how do you know about me? He said, I just stumbled on you on Channel 9. And you're the best interviewer I've ever seen on television, and I'd love you to come and fill in for 2 weeks. I said, are you kidding me? And he said, no. So I went in, and I filled in. And I interviewed the two Judd girls. They were having a problem at the time. Terrific guests. Well, they went around bragging about the fact it was, I'd hate to say this, it was the best interview they'd ever done. They used it everywhere they went. And I had everybody on that show at noon. And people came on the show who were never on shows. I mean, Gallagher. You remember Gallagher, the comic?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I loved it. And people do not know how bright a guy he was. I had all kinds of people on the show. And I got a call from the head of programming in Atlanta. And he sent me a note saying Larry King is going in for a heart operation and he'll be tied up for a couple of weeks. I would love to have you when you're done here